Man, sorry I'm a little behind the time that I even quoted. I came out of my live stream and could not figure out how to get back into it. So, with that, welcome to the Casualeann That Wrestling Fan channel, my weekly review of Raw, or, well, Raw Talk. But we get some good bits of Raw in there because Raw Talk talks about Raw. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully, it'd be a little bit more than a stop by. Be sure to like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel, all the good YouTube stuff, interact in the live chats, comment, all of those things to make sure that I don't get engulfed on YouTube by better and worse content. um, yeah, is that all the admin stuff? I think it is. But moving right into the Raw Talk review for September 12th, 2022. You remember how I said last week they were doing a pretty good job of not immediately replaying the main event when they started into Raw Talk? Yeah, they totally messed that up. They did it again this week, or they started back doing it this week. Um, the Judgment Day angle was lovely, and I like where Dominic Mysterio's character is going. And let me know what you all think about it in the live chats and comments as well. Hey, what's going on, Mr. Joe Mama? What? Today's your birthday? Yes, happy birthday. Absolutely. Mr. Joe Mama, a very loyal viewer of the Casualeann, that wrestling fan channel. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. All right, that's all I have. Um, but thank you for taking some time out of your birthday to actually spend some time with me, spend some time with the channel. Appreciate that. Um, yeah, I like where Dominic is going. The one thing that bothered me about the match with Edge, and let me know if there's anything going on with like sound, internet stuff, anything like that. The only thing that bugged me was the fact that it was before Rhea Ripley started interfering. It was a total blowout. Like the main event to Raw was a one-on-one match between Dominic Mysterio and Edge. Okay, Edge was beating him down, like beat the brakes off of him, like I don't know, like he was beating up Gangrel or so. It was ridiculous. He got like a punch in, like no offense, hardly at all, until Rhea Ripley started kind of, you know, um, appreciate that, Joe Mama. Until Rhea Ripley started interfering, that then things started to turn around some. But the way they've been framing it the whole night was like that basically this was Dominic's spanking. This was his grown man spanking. He had no idea what he was doing as a person. This is his woodshed moment to tell him what's up, to teach him. I didn't really care for that if the whole point is to make somebody out of him in the Judgment Day and hopefully push the Judgment Day at the same time. Edge does need some backup if he's going to keep going. I was watching some wrestling news, and there's speculation that the reason, after he beat Dom up so bad and the Judgment Day started turning on him, that they beat Edge down so badly because they're about to write him off TV. And since he's not working, quite as much, then they have to have reasons for there to be these big old gaps in his schedule. And so supposedly all that stuff with his leg and them, jumping down on the chairs from top ropes, all of that is to get Edge off TV. But hopefully he has pushed Judgment Day, forward a little bit. In the meanwhile, um, yeah, that was my main issue with them. Give Dominic a little more credit than that. This is not his first week on the roster. He's been there for a while. He's a former tag team champion. Let him get some offense. All right, rant done. um, Raw Talk's first full discussion was the Open Challenge, the Raw Women's Championship Open Challenge. Um, Bianca presented this just to let people know, hey, I'm still out here. I am nothing to be played with. And Sonya Deville answered it. I don't know if anybody else noticed this. It maybe not, but it seemed to me that there was a little strange something going on with the match. Like, there wasn't quite as much of Bianca's like trademark smoothness and like fluidity in the ring, and she kind of looked like she was aggravated, like she was perturbed a little bit. I don't know if something was going on with Sonya or something had been happening, but yeah, she didn't seem like she was too happy about it. But Bayley came out and attempted to box Bianca in after her victory, and she brought the rest of Damage Control along, but the EST had backup in Asuka and Alexa Bliss. So all three of them are backstage with Sarah Shriver. Well, not like that, but they have a backstage interview with them. She asks for a response to Damage Control, and Bianca points out that Bayley didn't come out before the challenge. She didn't come out to challenge her. She came out after the match and tried to play this little numbers game with her. But she's not the only one with friends. And so Alexa adds this, that she and Asuka were not about to let that numbers game happen. And since Io Sky and Dakota Kai have the women's tag team championships now, they might have some unfinished business with them too. And then we're bounced back to headquarters with Jackie Redmond, Matt Camp, and Jerry the King Lawler. That's their third person. That's their guest for the night. And they talk about Judgment Day. King, always with the one-liners, always. He commends Dominic for coming out of Rey Mysterio's shadow and says Rey needs to be nice to Dominic because he's going to be the one choosing his retirement home. We get a promo for an NXT 2.0 event, I believe. It wasn't even a full ad. But when we come back, we get the end of the Women's Tag Team Championship match, which resulted in Dakota Kai and Io Sky becoming Raw Women's Champions. They did. That they did. So all the folks that went on and on and on about Damage Control not having the titles, they can be quiet now. They have the titles. Okay, can we please move on with the rest of our lives? Damage Control are the women's tag team champions. Okay, all right, y'all got it. What I didn't really understand about that whole thing was they kept, during the match, hyping this up like it was Raquel and Aaliyah's first time defending the championships, which I didn't really understand because I thought they just defended them on SmackDown. I don't know. It was weird, but I think Aaliyah and Raquel needed to be champions for longer than this. There was plenty of time to make Dakota Kai and Io Sky champions. You didn't have to do it like right away. Like, they could have reaped the benefits of that and gotten some more attention and that sort of thing for a little bit longer before, before Bayley's crew ended up getting it. But I will say, at least it looks like they're leading to a feud with Alexa and Asuka. So that should be pretty good. I'll take that as my little consolation prize for them beating Aaliyah and Raquel so quickly. All right, so I sure did run my jolly little mouth about Johnny Gargano last week. I talked so much trash about his little segment with is it Kevin Patrick? Whoever he was talking with last week. I did. I talked so much trash. But he did have his first in-ring TV match since his return last night. And he made a believer out of me. He did. I see why he's called Johnny Wrestling. I do. I was majorly impressed. Um, he had the right person for his first match back in Chad Gable. They put on an amazing technical kind of contest. Yes, yes. Of course, then Austin Theory ruined it. And Kevin Owens, in kind of a passionate promo, attempted to talk and smack some sense into Theory. Johnny won the match, by the way, if I didn't mention that. But this was an amazing segment. Kevin Owens and Austin Theory. I loved it. I thought that maybe this was going to be the beginning of a babyface turn for Austin Theory. Maybe that like aha mentor tough love kind of moment where he's like, I finally understand, what I have to do to get some real staying power. I have to be serious. I have to not be all into myself. That's not what we got. Instead, he just flexed with the mic in his hand, and he and KO started brawling. But at the very least, at least he looked tough coming out of it. Like, I mean, he had the whole bloody nose, the whole nine. He's been looking silly for weeks. He needed this. He really did. It felt more like a grown-up confrontation for him than he's been having, kind of in the past few months. So, he has a segment on Raw Talk. He's with Kevin Patrick. KP asks how he's feeling. And Austin calls Johnny Gargano unfinished business. That's kind of a theme on this show. And he's just playing with Papa John. Gargano make papadillas? Maybe I'm kind of hungry right now. But he runs down his own kind of resume. He talks about beating KO in the Elimination Chamber, how he beat Finn Balor on Raw. He went on to Money in the Bank. He slips in there, Bobby Lashley got the best of me. But then goes into the Money in the Bank ladder match, how he fought a match, but he went in and he beat everybody, and he does what he's always done, which is all day. And he's tired of people downgrading his achievements. Like, he hasn't busted his A. He's the future, and that's A-Town down. Like, it still had the it had like his catchphrases and stuff like that. I could feel the progression, so I'll take it. There were no cameras. No camera phones. Of course there were cameras. No selfies in sight. Like, he was just being Austin Theory and being angry about Kevin Owens taking him, underestimating him. But yeah, let's see. They then give King the floor to talk about Damage Control. Apparently he is really, really into them, and so he had to, Redmond had to give him some space. King talks about being a fan of Raquel. He still believes that she's the future, but he's not saying he bet on her, but she cost him a lot of money. It's like, well, which one is it, sir? Did she cost you a lot of money, or do you not bet on her? But Says from now on, he's betting on damage control. He changes his mind every 5 minutes, but all right. We get another break. Then we get Riddle and Monday Night Rollins. They're tangling it up. The Visionary made sure that Finn Balor, who had a one-on-one match with 420 Tarzan, or that's what I call Riddle at least, he made sure that Finn won against 420 Tarzan, and it was a shame. Finn needed the win though, so I was glad about that. As much as Seth is adamant about this being done between them, he's just trying to convince himself. And I think Triple H, he's got something else in the works for them. If it's not right away at Extreme Rules, it might be like Crown Jewel, or if they can stretch it out even more, maybe like Survivor Series. But somewhere along the lines, we're gonna get a rematch, and it's gonna be good because we don't have rematches every single week. It won't feel tired like the rematches used to. Let's see. Let me make sure I haven't forgotten anything. Oh yeah. So after he gets done speaking about Mr. Riddle, he gets a stare down. He's talking about himself being the face of Monday Night Raw. Yeah, like all the Sethisms. He gets a stare down from the United States Champion one, Mr. Bobby Lashley. And he's invoking his Malcolm X. That's why I had to make it the thumbnail, him and Seth. He's invoking his total Malcolm X looks like 5 million G's. I'm digging it. I really am. More of this. Yeah. I didn't make much more of it initially than like, okay, this is Bobby Lashley's next United States Championship match. Like, but then I started thinking about Seth's promo from earlier in the night, where he's talking about planning on going after Roman again. So that Rollins has kind of a carrot to dangle in front of the tribal chief. I mean, Roman Reigns escaped with his title before, even though he has yet to beat Seth Rollins. So as far as the titles are concerned, even though he didn't win, he doesn't have anything to prove to Rollins anymore. But maybe, just maybe, Roman being undisputed champion and U.S. champion, plus all of the psychological warfare and Seth just getting on his nerves and all of that, maybe that'll be enough to coax old Romy Rome back into fighting Seth again for the championship. I don't know. But what do you all think? Like, should he actually win the United States Championship? Is it time to take it off of Bobby Lashley? Like, yeah, let me know what you all think. Kevin Patrick was doing double duty because he has the United States Champion backstage. So Bobby Lashley thinks that Seth is his biggest challenge so far, but he enjoys it. He welcomes it. He says it's fun. He finds it fun. He calls the United States Championship the Workhorse Championship. And that's what he thinks of himself as. He says anytime, anyone, anywhere. So if Seth Rollins wants his title, we can fight about it. Anytime he evokes that line in front of Seth Rollins, Seth kind of locks up a little bit. That might be part of the thumbnail too. But Kevin Patrick compliments him on this look. He's like, what is this look? That was more English than Irish, but anyway. Kevin Patrick asks if, can I pull that off? You think I can pull that off? And Bobby's like, no, not at all. I mean, but not in like a heelish sort of way, but like you knew you were stupid for asking that when it came out of your mouth. But it was cute. As far as the review goes, Bobby is one of the larger stars that we've had on Raw Talk in a while, and so that was a real treat as far as being in the audience. It's wonderful when a singles champion, particularly one that's not there all that often, makes it onto one of the post shows, Raw Talk or Smackdown Lowdown. Even though we saw Omos on Raw, which was all right, I still think MVP would be of more use if he was back with Lashley. Lashley's talking still needs a little bit of work, but it's getting better. They structured Bianca, Alexa, and Asuka segments just like damage controls from last week. You know, I have a line, you have a line, she has a line. But for some reason, I didn't mind it as much from them. It's like their characters and personalities are distinct enough. They're big enough stars now that that sort of formatting component to it didn't aggravate me as much as it did with damage control. Austin Theory showed passion and fire. I got something deeper from him than just selfies and flexing. Yes, yes, exactly. This is what I've been wanting. This is what we want, growth as a character. So this show was pretty good. I give it a 4 out of 5. So let me know what you all thought about this episode of Raw, this episode of Raw Talk, stuff in general. I love to know what you all think. I appreciate you, Joe Mama, for stepping into the stream once again. Happy birthday. Like the video, comment on it, share, subscribe, tap the bell icon to make sure you get notifications, all of those good YouTube things. And the next video that comes out should be this week, the Smackdown Lowdown review. I'll see you guys later. Bye.